Good morning, everybody. We're here with another segment of Meet the Candidate. And today we're privileged to have Phil Molina in the office, and he is a candidate for Oxnard City Treasurer, right, Phil?
Yes, sir, I am.
How about telling our viewing audience a little bit about Phil Molina, your growing up years, family, what you've done with your career, and a little bit about why have you decided to run for City Treasurer?
Wow, that's a big order. Well, first I was born in France to a warrant officer in the United States Army 3rd Infantry Division who earned a Bronze Star and other awards during the Second World War. So I'm a naturalized citizen, brought to the United States I think when I was 2 or 3 years old. I was raised in Tainuba, California, a huge metropolis near Fresno, where my father wanted to make sure that my brother and I learned how to, that we would have to work during our lives, so he took us out and showed us the different parts of farming, and we worked summers like most people did in farms or in the packing sheds. I was honored to be selected to be the Boy State representative for our high school, and so I served in Sacramento for I think it was 1 or 2 weeks and enjoyed the learning process on local government and state laws of California. I earned a scholarship to go to a university back east, Valparaiso University, and a private school, and earned my BA, double major in pre-law and political science there. Married my beautiful wife Linda, and was almost immediately drafted into the United States Army. I was a graduate of the Fort Belvoir, Virginia Combat Engineer Officer Candidate School, became a second lieutenant, or graduated as a second lieutenant in 1970. I finished serving my term at Fort Carson, Colorado, and received an honorable discharge. From there, we stayed in Illinois, and I worked at the State Department of Insurance and Department of Public Health as an auditor and chief financial officer. And I obtained the accounting credentials I needed, became a certified public accountant, continued my education in California, and got a master's in business administration while I was working at various cities in California. I worked for 4 cities for a period of 25 years. I was the chief financial officer, I was the administrative services director, I was the treasurer, I was the interim city manager, and sometimes I was all 3 at the same time, which made
Janitor
life almost I felt that way. So it was certainly exciting, interesting, and an opportunity to learn what needed to be done. I've saved the city of Oxnard once I came here. Interestingly, I came here in December of 1997, and immediately upon coming here, the auditors, KPMG, one of the large 4, came to my office and said, "We have bad news and worse news." And I said, "That's not good." They said, "First, the city is officially legally bankrupt, and secondly, we have to turn the city over to the state because you don't have enough money to pay your next month's bills." I asked the auditor, Mark Thomas from KPMG, the executive partner, to give me 30 days to look at and try to fix things up. And with a very good crew, very qualified individuals, we were able to find that the executives at the time had hidden away about $8 million worth of cash in various funds that belonged to the general fund. And when I asked why did they do that, they said, well, because if the council doesn't approve what we want, then we can go to those funds and get it anyway. I reminded them that in California, like in the rest of the country, an appropriation of a budget is only good for 1 year, and that money belongs to the general fund. I spoke to the interim city manager. She spoke and got the approval of the council as she directed me, so we brought that money back into the general fund. The auditors re-audited the books and issued a clean audit, to the extent it was so clean at that time that we even got an excellent award from the GFOA for the presentation of the CAFR. So that's my background. I've also been the DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services Chief Financial Officer for LA County. Their budget was $1,700,000,000. I helped, of course, I managed it financially, but I helped to put the budget together as well. I think I was there 3.5 years before my wife got ill. I retired at that point, but then we heard that the city's finances were not, Oxnard's finances were not proper. And then we found out a couple of months ago from the audit that there's a substantial number of what they call findings. More findings than I've ever experienced in my 28, 30 years as both being an auditor as well as being a chief financial officer of any organization. And that bothered me. And as we got into the details, we started finding out that there's a need for a person in the treasurer's office who has experience in solving problems of the nature that we're looking at. We don't have the luxury of training anyone in that office. So while I may not be a flashy politician, I think I bring to the candidacy someone with real experience. I have invested hundreds of millions of dollars, probably over $1 billion over the cumulative 25 years. I've been fortunate to have never lost a single dollar of principal. I've always made higher interest than the local education investment fund, which is a California state operated fund for cities. And I've always been able to cover all the costs of the finance department and my cost through that investment process, which always made us feel good. At least we weren't a drain on the general fund. That pretty well explains why I think at this point I've decided that I need to put my hat in the ring, and I hope the citizens of Oxnard would take seriously my candidacy and vote for me November the 8th.
How can they get in touch with you?
I do have a Facebook page. I think it's called Philip for Treasurer. I also have an email account. It's Philip and the number 4 treasurer @gmail.com. And I also have availability through the phone. My phone number is in the white pages of the phone book.
Phil, thanks so much for coming in, and best of luck in the upcoming election.
Thank you.